The Honourable Shane Jones.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge, sir, in the fiasco around the World Cup on Friday night, there actually were service workers who tried their hardest. There were security people, on no doubt enjoying very minimal wages, who were stressed and tried their hardest. There were the police who tried their hardest. The person who didn't try his hardest, sir, was the Prime Minister, who went to Eden Park, sir, exploited an opportunity, delivered a half-baked, insipid speech, and deliberately went out of his way to show that he doesn't govern for all New Zealanders. He waited for a manene, sir. He waited for a visiting European to bring just a small measure of our Indigenous language into a greeting, sir. And when the Prime Minister did that, sir, it showed that he was willing to exploit the limelight, but when the acid was going to come on him, sir, he would run from the attention. And, sir, why we're angry on this side of the House? Yes, there are concerns, sir, about the health of the young people, because a number of us, sir, in this House were down there on Friday night. We were at the viaduct and we saw the thronging crowd, sir. We saw the poor organisation, and we were deeply fearful, sir. Had there been a spark of incivility, had there been a spark of violence, sir, bad planning meant our security forces would never have coped, sir, would never have coped. So we should congratulate the majority of the Kiwis, largely young people, sir, who were there and answered the call. Unfortunately, it's proven to be a siren call from the Prime Minister, come and party. Haere mai ki te whakangaho. Well, sir, he obviously thought that he could use those terms a year, 18 months, 2 years ago, and it would overlap in terms of a feel-good factor for the election. Well, sir, it doesn't feel good now. Because, sir, media around the world have picked up on that egregious lapse of organisation. Now, sir, it's inevitable that they'll want to blame anyone else, because we've never had a Prime Minister more skillful, sir, at shifting liability or shifting the blame. And, sir, New Zealanders, though, they're not happy. They're not happy, sir, at the prospect of a showcase like this being used to diminish our reputation internationally. And they have every right to ask questions, sir. Of course, the majority who managed to get there on time had a fantastic opportunity to see some of the finest sentiments, sir, showcased at Eden Park. We had the Pacifica influence, we had the Māori influence, and we had the broad Kiwi influence. What we didn't, sir, was have a Prime Minister showing the influence of his office and agreeing to stand up and be counted. So what do, sir? They blame the hapless Len Brown, who had no formal authority, has no power whatsoever, sir, over the Transport Agency, and indeed has very little influence over their budget. And so to make matters worse, they then turn the attention on Stephen Joyce and invite him to further humiliate the Super City. So the Super City is an autonomous unit. But in this case, sir, they are not responsible for the debacle that we saw in terms of the failure of security and crowd control, and, sir, in the transport woes that they are endeavouring to fix up. And every time, so they come up with an innovative idea that might have reduced the prospect of what we're dealing with in the World Cup transportation, they are humiliated. This is a further example of a small coterie of cabinet ministers who dislike intensely Len Brown. And they will rest. They will not rest, sir, until they have had the opportunity to wear the man down. The real agenda here, sir, is not actually to improve the prospects of running the World Cup for the next 7-8 weeks, sir, but it's using it as an opportunity to humiliate and deprecate a person who's got a larger mandate than any single member on that side of the House. Sir, and we should call them on that. This is being used under the cloak of the World Cup fiasco, sir, to settle personal political scores, and no one's doing it with more electricity than Stephen Joyce, a man who the national MPs tell us, sir, has a nickname of Fig Jam. We want to hear about problems of traffic jams and solutions to traffic jams, sir. Now, sir, let's go on and explain why we are going to hold the Prime Minister to account. It is not good enough to want to bask in the glory of the work that Helen Clark and Tana Umanga did in actually securing that concession for New Zealand. Now, sir, when that man stands, we want him to be the Prime Minister for all New Zealanders. And we want him to be the Prime Minister who stands up and is willing to be counted when things go wrong. Because inevitably, sir, things do not all actually go swimmingly well. But what we're seeing, sir, is a person who's now not only, sir, is willing to blame Len Brown, but unwilling to take responsibility. And, sir, their election campaign as a consequence of this does not look flash.
Move over, make way for
Nicky Wagner.